patients are really at the center of everything we do. They're the reason ultimately that we're doing this. And when you have an experience like I had, as a child, and for my entire life, that empathy takes root deeply, and you can easily transfer it to other folks. In this case, GBM patients.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for the Virtual Investor On Demand Summer Spotlight What's Your Story series. My name is Janine Thomas. I am CEO of JTCIR, and today we are featuring John Climaco. He is Chief Executive Officer of CNS Pharmaceuticals. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Janine. Always nice to be here.
It is always a great pleasure to have you. Before I turn it over to John, I'd like to remind you that CNS Pharma trades on NASDAQ under the ticker CNSP. And during today's discussion, John will be making forward-looking statements, and I encourage everyone to view the company's website at cnspharma.com, as well as the SEC's website for their latest filings and information. All right, John, we're going to dive right in. I'm going to turn it over to you because we want to hear your story. So start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and your journey to CEO of CNS Pharma.
Sure. So, professionally, I trained as a corporate attorney, and I practiced for several years until a client of mine came to me with basically with an idea to start a molecular diagnostics company. And he didn't know anything about corporate finance or any of those things. That was my bread and butter of my practice. And essentially, that was the client that ate my practice, became my first venture-backed company. I ran that for 10 years, and that was kind of on-the-job training to be a CEO. And eventually, through a series of board appointments and connections, I was introduced to Dr. Valdemar Pribe, who founded CNS Pharmaceuticals, and that's how I got here, kind of in a nutshell.
Excellent. And John, anyone that has seen you speak, watch your videos previously, knows that you have significant passion for CNS Pharma. So, was there a definitive moment that shaped your career, your focus, or your passion?
Yeah, there was. And it predated all of that, and didn't have anything to do at the time with work. It was basically when I was a young child, maybe about 9 or 10. Um, I saw a TV show about pre-climbing the Northwest Face of Half Dome in Yosemite, and I grew up in Ohio, not near any mountains. Nobody in my family climbed or did anything like that. But I saw the show, and I immediately said, "That's what I want to do with my life," and that pretty much set me on a journey. That led me here. Ultimately, that resulted in years of training and climbing professionally. I was a mountain guide for 6 years after I finished college. And, I led expeditions all over the world, to the Himalayas, to South America, to the Arctic. And, those experiences remarkably are very similar. And the skill set needed to pull those things off is very, very similar to what you need to do something like this. Not shying away in the face of a big challenge. In fact, gravitating, toward the challenge, organizing people, motivating people, gathering funds, promoting the opportunity, promoting the mission, and staying totally focused, on that mission, whether it's the summit of a big peak on the other side of the world, or trying to change the course of treatment for thousands of people that don't have any other option. It's all sort of a piece in my mind. The skills were totally transferable, even though I didn't maybe see that when I was younger, but it all fell into place, when the time came.
That's incredible, John. Can you tell us one thing? And I have a feeling it's going to be associated with this as well, but can you tell us one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
I'll tell you something that has nothing to do with that people might be surprised to know. I have a special needs sister, and she's going to turn 50 in a few days, but she's kind of frozen in time. And you know, I guess what I learned from growing up, with a sibling like that, is that I learned the power of empathy. I had close association, my only sibling, from a very young age, with somebody that faced an incredible lifelong challenge. and I saw, how that shaped a family, how that shaped a life experience, and how it shaped me. And so, I really, I guess I carry that with me intrinsically through my whole life, and it's translated in this work, I guess, toward empathy for our patients. The patients are really at the center of everything we do. They're the reason ultimately that we're doing this. And when you have an experience like I had, as a child, and for my entire life, that empathy takes root deeply, and you can easily transfer it to other folks. In this case, GBM patients. So I think, when I sort of combine, thought about this a little bit, my experience and my passion, kind of outside work in the mountains, and my life experience in terms of just a deep rooted empathy, for people that are facing a challenge like this. I think they come together really nicely in this work.
Well, John, your story is incredible. What you just shared with us about your sister is beautiful, and we really appreciate you giving us that line of sight into that piece of your life. So, as you reflect on your journey to this point, how do you think your story and leadership position CNS Pharma to create stakeholder value?
Yeah, I think, it is, again, it is those two things, right? First of all, having a deep empathy and respect for the patients, and an understanding as much as one can from the outside what they're going through. And then that combined with everything that I've learned, outside work, in my life, in the mountains, facing, long odds, great challenges, lots of situations where, of course, people's lives were at risk, not unlike what we're doing here. I think all of that, combined to allow me, I guess, to convey my passion for what we're doing, to maintain that passion, to maintain that focus, to harness the power, of our team, and to keep pushing, really relentlessly until we succeed. I was thinking of another story. It's my first Himalayan expedition back in the '90s, and I fell into a crevasse high on this peak in Nepal, and I thought I was going to die. I fell into this crevasse. Fortunately, I was still roped, but it was very, very difficult to get out. I was really shaken by the time I got out. And I wanted to turn around. Even though we were relatively close to the summit of this peak, I wanted to turn around. I was so shaken, and my partner, you know, grabbed me and he said, "What do you mean? This is why we're here. If it were easy, everyone would do this. This is exactly what you signed up for." And and he was totally right. That was exactly what I signed up for. And when we're doing this, we face challenges, whether it's in the financial markets, whether it's in our studies with our patients, in the manufacturing of our drug. There's more challenges than we have time to talk about. But ultimately, that's why we're here. That's why Sandra's here. That's why Don is here. Zena, Chris. That's why we're all here doing this, because all of us could be doing something else. I think that would be much easier than this. But we all love a challenge. We're all passionate about trying to help these patients. We've been focused on this mission for years. We remain focused on it because this is exactly what we all wanted. And we all want success very, very badly. And we really just won't stop until we get it. And I think we're as well positioned as we've ever been in that regard. So I feel like, as is the case with many people, right? I mean, it may be a circuitous path, from the Himalayas to being the CEO of a biotech, but ultimately, it's all those experiences, I think, that kind of add up. To making me who I am, with my perspective on this project, on the company, and all this passion that I have, to build toward a success here.
Excellent, John. Your story is so inspiring, and you left us again sharing your passion and really feeling it. Can't thank you enough for sharing your story today with us. I'd like to thank our listeners for tuning in. And if you're interested in what you heard today, I encourage you to visit the company's website at cnspharma.com for more information. And on their website, you can sign up to receive their alerts as well as follow their social channels to stay current on the latest information. And if you'd like to hear more Summer Spotlight, What's Your Story webcast, we encourage you to visit our website at virtualinvestorco.com. John, always a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your story, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Janine.